Hey Zach, what's going on? We just got off of a video with Viper that's going on the Patreon, and if you want to go and see why I drew this picture of George Lazenby looking so angry, you can find out on our Patreon, where we discuss your Bonburger video, how to be a good YouTuber, and which dads are the best.
Yeah, we there's a whole lot of video in that video. It is a whole lot of extra stuff from us. Also, Tom, I've got an announcement.
Yeah!
Tom, I'm hosting a contest for my new cover album.
Yeah, there
Woo,
it is!
everybody! This is the album cover for my cover album, which you should try saying 10 times fast.
Album cover,
Uh,
cover album.
yeah, anal bum cover. But
Can we say that in the
so
first 5 minutes?
yes, absolutely, you
Really?
can.
Whatever. I believe you.
None of those are bad words. So uh, I have 18 tracks on this upcoming album that'll be out on the 13th.
Yeah!
Unless my computer implodes, it'll be out. And these are the artists. Each one has one song. If you can't read it, there is a post on the Deterri LaCroix channel where you can read it much clearer. If you comment on that post, if you comment in the comments of this video, if you post a list to our Discord or DM me through Discord, I'll count all of those as submissions for your ideas of what you think the tracks are. The winner will have a prize mailed to them. So if somebody correctly guesses all of them, they will get sent something. If nobody correctly gets all the songs, nobody gets anything, which is more convenient for me. And if you like the music I made last year, the album Rankaria, or you just like lo-fi music in general, you're gonna love this album. You should listen to it, whether you enter the contest or not. And yeah, that's the contest I have going on for the next couple days.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see people's guesses. This is very gettable, and if you want a hint, you should subscribe to the channel because 5 of the songs are already out, so it'll be really, really easy to guess those 5.
Yeah. And am I correct in saying that they have to be subscribed to receive the prize, but not for you to send it, right?
I will be mad if you're not subscribed to the channel and you win.
Oh
You should
yeah,
subscribe to
yeah.
the
If you're
channel.
not if you're subscribed, the prize will be better.
Yes. When you give the answer, you should say also I'm subscribed.
Yeah,
Then I'll throw in something
and
else.
make sure that
If
you
you're
put
also
that
not subscribed, I'll send a frowny face along.
make sure you put that in a separate comment so that it contributes to engagement.
In the comments below, whether you're participating or not, say also I'm subscribed.
Yeah,
But if you're not talking about my music channel, you're lying. You should feel bad. Uh,
yeah, yeah. Zach, I understand you have a thing for us today.
I do. I have a Y episode that I don't think we've even approached talking about before, but I might be wrong.
Okay,
Tom, uh, I want
Tom.
to talk about. No,
I
that's not the quote.
want to talk about no. That's not the quote. Okay.
Uh, Between 209 AC and 210 AC, Westeros suffered from the Great Spring Sickness.
Okay. Great spring sickness. Hmm. And it's a major plot point what characters in the series got down with the sickness, right? This is
Yes,
pretty relevant.
I was wondering how long it would take for us to get to it down with the sickness joke,
What
and
do you
the
mean?
answer is immediately.
What do you mean?
The song by Disturbed, "Down with the Sickness," that you were
Who?
absolutely just referencing.
Zach, we can't just get bogged down on this one joke. There's new
Okay,
subscribers.
fine. Hi, new subscribers. We're like this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Zach, we you can't they can't know for at least 3 more videos that we don't take anything seriously.
I'm so sorry.
Where
Uh,
are you?
and I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah. We know because Dunk and Egg were in Dorne, they didn't get affected by this, but it also means we're deprived somebody who we get the like perspective of who witnessed this, because our only characters we have in this time are Dunk and Egg, who's like we get Dunk's perspective, and we get egg through Dunk's perspective, and like we meet some people who survived it more directly, but they aren't the most trustworthy sorts because everybody is doing like mafia level betraying each other in that last Dunk and Egg book,
It's amazing.
and it is great. And the only other thing we have is from the World of Ice and Fire, which is a history book of people writing about it later. We don't actually have a very good description as to what the hell this was because nobody was there to witness it. The Black Death, the bubonic plague, is probably the direct historical comparison, but I don't think it fits 100%. And I want to talk about that. I want
Ooh.
to talk about like what the hell happened, why it affected so many people, where it might have come from, and I want to try and like
And
be epidemiologists for a fictional disease for an entire episode. I think
yeah,
that's a
Zach, I think
interesting.
that's a fantastic episode. We're going to talk about where did it come from? We're going to talk about where did it go? We're going to talk about where did it come from?
Yes. Uh, we're going to talk about Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been recording for 5 hours.
It's
Oh
gonna
my
get worse.
god.
We're recording all day. We're not even to our halfway point.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we have 2 more guests.
maybe we'll say.
Yeah.
Yes. Um. So
Let's talk about fictional diseases, Zach. Should I
I
list other diseases in the series, or should I start talking about the two
well,
perspectives we do have of the Great Spring Sickness?
yeah, let's we can talk about other because we see grayscale close up from a lot of different angles.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We know how grayscale works. That's like the disease we might understand the best. It's very leprosy coded in some regards, and might be a little bit of like some other things in there like syphilis. Uh, it's not a perfect one to one for any of those things, but syphilis is spread from like contact and drives you to the point that you are like no longer mentally functioning all that great, which grayscale also does. You become a stone man at certain points, but it's also like leprosy, and that you're literally like kind of falling apart. Your skin is becoming weird and scaly, and you're not like made of the same stuff when you're a stone man. Uh, we know that there's an area in particular that is highly afflicted, this Valeria, that it really gravitates around. The sorrows and the doomed Valerian continent seem to be the core of it. And also, the Shrouded Lord might be fucking real, which also is a great thing to keep in mind when we're talking about other diseases. There appears to be a magical deity that, or similar being associated with grayscale. And from that one Tyrion chapter we get in the Sorrows, where magic seems to happen, and from the draft version of it, where Tyrion actually meets the Shrouded Lord that was unearthed, it seems like magic impacts disease pretty fucking clearly in this series. Which makes me wonder about the Great Spring Sickness. Because the easy thing you could say, if you wanted to write it off in 2 sentences, is it's a metaphor for the bubonic plague. It's the fantasy version of the bubonic plague. It's probably carried by rats.
The Great
But
Spring Sickness. Um, why do you say that?
yeah, no, that's the thing. I have no proof that it's like the bubonic plague. I
Okay.
have actually zero evidence that it's like the bubonic plague. That's just the assumption that I think a lot of people have is it's like it's the perfect metaphor for it, right? Like a disease rolls in and it's fucking terrible and it kills a ton of people, lowborn and highborn alike. And also there's the burning of the bodies that is the classic bubonic plague thing,
Yeah.
right? They knew that touching the bodies would make you sick, so they burned a ton of bodies. In fact, uh, there's an accidental fire that burns 1/4 of King's Landing during this time, which is fascinating. It makes sense if it's just like it's a bubonic plague thing burning the bodies. But if we're talking about there being deities in this world, a disease that accidentally causes you to burn down 1/4 of a city has got to be like R'hllor's favorite fucking thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Or it's the opposite. R'hllor is the solution. The only person I could find doing weird speculation when I googled the Great Spring Sickness asserted that it was unique because it was very good at killing Targaryens. The Targaryens are, quote unquote, immune to most illnesses, which Targaryens state, but I think that Valyrians being immune to most illnesses is propaganda. We see Targaryens get sick all the time. Dany spends like half the book sick. So it
Yeah.
doesn't actually seem specifically like they are more healthy than others.
All
Or
right.
at least their claims of being more healthy than
All
others.
right. We've touched on like 15 points. We got to dial in on one of them at some point.
Yes. I'm throwing things up on the board so we have some boundaries to play in. Now, Tom,
Look,
with all these
throwing things up is what I want to talk about because Daenerys
okay,
spends the end of the last chapter extremely ill. Um
yeah,
uh uh However, she does like very casually walk through the streets outside of Meereen while the bloody flux is going through and does not seem affected.
although she could be in the early stages of it, we don't know.
That's true. That's true. Like legitimately, it could just be the case that well, no. Um I think it's very safe to say that she doesn't get the bloody flux. But then again, neither does Barristan.
Yeah, yeah, it could be that they're immune from other reasons. Yeah, Barristan has no Targaryen blood; he does not get the bloody flux.
It also could just be the case that like any disease has like you roll a die, right? And depending on your hygiene habits, if you get less than a 5 on a d20, you get sick, and they could just roll good.
Well, then there's also the genetic thing where if you have like if your area has been impacted by that disease throughout history, and then like it hits a new area where it's never been before, you might have a genetic immunity passed on from one of your ancestors, but the people in the new area might not be. So it could be that like the bloody flux was brought by potentially some of the Westerosi people there, who was like a passive carrier, or potentially from like some of the Dothraki, potentially from some of the Unsullied. Like one person was passively carrying the disease and brought it to an area that hadn't been hit as hard by it. Although I
Well,
think the bloody flux recurs in that
hang on,
area,
hang on,
but
hang on. I got a thought.
yeah.
The Andals coming to Westeros. Well, the first men and the Andals coming to Westeros is often used as an like is often discussed as an allegory to like the European to the old
Oh,
world new world separation.
yeah.
Um and what is there a smallpox equivalent in the series?
Ooh.
I've never thought about this before because I don't think it's unreasonable to say that the most significant social, political, economic, or religious thing, the single most important thing to happen in the last 800 in the last 1,000 years of human history is smallpox hitting America. I think I don't think that's a hot take at all. Like it's like second to fucking World War One and Two, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh
uh, and at least to my knowledge, there is not a comparison to that. Disease
so
is not discussed during the
we don't have
conquest
a
of the
massive
Andals or the first men coming to Westeros. I wonder I wonder, because it's pretty well documented, but I do wonder if the first men had a hard time against the Andals because the Andals kept getting the first men sick.
that's yeah, that's possible. And we do hear people dying of poxes, but it sounds a lot more like was it Darren the drunk who died of a pox he got from a brothel,
Yeah, that sounds
maybe?
like syphilis to me.
Yeah, that is syphilis, which does not spread the way smallpox spreads. Uh, if you hug somebody with smallpox, you're getting it's syphilis. You're not getting syphilis, but you are getting
Yeah,
smallpox. Uh,
grayscale sounds like smallpox.
yes, it does. It has a lot of comparisons to that as
I'm gonna
well.
write that shit down. Grayscale reminds me of smallpox.
With a
And
little bit of leprosy thrown in there too.
yeah. Well, you're right. You're right. It doesn't remind me of smallpox because smallpox kills so fast.
In grayscale, yeah, it can recur.
Yeah.
Syphilis is like that too, where you have like latent and passive phases of it too, which
Yeah.
is what happens with grayscale. Is the disease is still alive in you, it just comes back out.
Grayscale
Herpes is
reminds me
simply
of leprosy. You said the Great Spring Sickness.
is seen by many people as like a bubonic plague analog, a metaphor for it.
I think I like that. I like that as a metaphor.
But I'm not confident on it because we don't know anything about it. We
Yeah.
could be all wrong about that. From the histories, the way that King's Landing is dealing with it reminds me quite a bit of like the stories of the bubonic plague in uh, Constantinople back in the day. Like the
Huh.
city, I might be wrong about this. I think Constantinople had a great fire from burning deceased bodies. Also, I think that's a 1-to-1.
Ooh.
I had to double check that, which I will do right now. If you want to vamp,
Yeah, absolutely. Um, let's see, what else do we have? I think we would be remiss to not mention Arya Targaryen here. Arya
oh yeah,
Targaryen
we
is
know that
full of
fucking
worms.
fire
Horrible. Just
parasites
horrible.
exist.
Just the
Is that
worst.
part of the spring sickness? Was everybody getting a parasite? That's entirely bubonic plague was a bacterial thing, I believe, but it was spread by fleas. It was
Yeah.
spread by fleas that were on rats, and everybody just assumed the rats would spread it, but they're all flea-ridden creatures. Uh, is it a bug-borne illness? Are those fireworms? Maybe the fireworms weren't the thing that was killing Arya Targaryen. It was the disease they carried on them. We don't know. We
All
see
right.
those worms exactly once.
I have another one. Um uh the is it the Isle of Noth is home to butterfly fever, is that correct?
I think so.
Right, that's the one where the butterflies, the beautiful butterflies will like bite people, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I think it's very safe to say this reminds me of malaria.
Yep.
I would be willing to bet that it's not the butterflies, right? It's not the butterflies that are doing this. It is something else that comes out at the same time as the butterflies. Which I would wager is mosquitoes, because that's such an easy 1-to-1 in a tropical climate. Um, that seems to track for me quite well. Okay. What else is there? What else is there? There's wormbone. Wormbone's terrifying. Do we want to go into like other medical conditions? Like burst belly is supposed to be
You
appendicitis, I think.
Yep. Yep. There's bad belly. I have the list of things that are put up here. There's the pale mare.
Oh right. Okay.
There's
Let's talk about the pale mare. The pale
there's
mare
the
is the bloody flux.
yes.
The
It's the
pale.
same thing. There's the shivers, which kills Targaryens, which they point out is like one of the diseases they do get. But it could be that one's particularly like good at killing Targaryens, or it could just be that their like claims of medical exceptionalism are fucking wrong. Sidorius has the Red Death also, which is a direct reference to I believe Edgar Allan Poe's
Oh
Mask
hell
of the
yeah,
Red
that's
Death.
Edgar Allan. That's the Mask of the Red Death.
One of my favorite stories of all
Absolutely.
time,
Uh, the
even though I
Red
was not
Death
confident on the author.
exists in Thorios. That is, in my opinion, the second best episode of the what's it called? The new Hill House show. What's that movie? What's that show called? House of Usher. Follow the House of Usher.
Oh yeah,
Really good. Um, the Shivers kills Targaryens. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of on the side of like the Targaryens aren't special. They say they're special, but they're not.
I agree.
Um. Oh, and I thought of something that reinforces this. We talked about. I don't remember we talked about it last time. I think it was with Mira. Um, where like the whole fandom is obsessed with genetics, like trying to trace like like the Targaryen lineage through generations. And I'm like, but then you got a motherfucker like Varamir who really does seem to be just a guy. And he's the most powerful. He's the second
Yeah.
most powerful warg on the continent.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe third. I don't know exactly how powerful Brynden is. Um,
But he's up there and he is nobody special.
yeah, and I'm like, I don't know if you kidnap Varamir and you kidnap Varamir as a baby and you toss him into the court of Aegon the Second, I bet you could get his ass to ride a dragon. And he's just some guy. Uh,
I think that anytime genetics are important, it's due to like horribly like profane magic affecting somebody through like time, and it's not a good thing. I think a lot of skills, like I think anybody can warg who has a little bit of children of the forest blood, maybe. But I think there might be a need for Valyrian blood, but I think it's because of I think it's due to magic being something that can pass from parent to child, and the magic is a lot very like curse like. But I do believe in the an interesting nerd club patented but never made a video about like childhood trauma theory of if you have something latent in there,
hey, you want to do that
you
video
still
now?
need to you still need to awaken it. Hell yeah, we could vamp about that. There's a
Yeah, we
lot of
got
things
time.
we've got time for today. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna put down here. Many people believe that Targaryens are immune to most common diseases. However, the shivers kills Targaryens, and the Great Spring Sickness kills Targaryens. So, like, what are you immune to, bro? Right? Like, we had this. Shoop, shoop. It's an ugly, ugly arrow. That's better. Kinda. It's kind of Tim Burton-y.
Yeah.
That's okay.
By the way, the Red Death is described almost exactly as it's described in Edgar Allan Poe's story. The Red Death that we have in the World of Ice and Fire
Hell
causes
yeah.
you to die pretty much exactly the same way. You start bleeding from everywhere you could possibly bleed, which it reminds me of many things actually, but definitely,
Reminds me of Poe.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. You get up there. All right. What else do we have in here? This is a good video, Zach.
And now like some of this just does feel like there's an undercurrent of magic in it too. Is the like feeling I'm getting, and if so, what magically could be influencing this one disease that like almost destroys Westeros with how like deadly it is. And estimates are all over the place for how much of the population died during the Black Death. 30% is like the low end, and like 60-70 is the high end. A lot of people say it was probably a little bit under 50. It's
Jesus
tough to say.
Christ.
Yeah, yeah, one coin flip. But I do wonder how much of that was direct death by disease and how much of that was like severe problems caused by the disease, like fucking decimating your village. Like if most of the people who farm the crops get sick, people will also start dying from malnutrition and lack of food and stuff like that, right? So I
Yeah.
wonder how much of it was directly caused by the disease. Like for 40% of people to die, you could have as low as 15% of people dying from the disease, and then the rest dying from the breakdown of social order.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the correct also for the Great Spring Sickness.
If 15% of people die, but one of them is the guy who makes sure that the well keeps working, uh you're all going to have a bad time, right?
Yep.
Everyone's going to have a bad time because even though you might not have died because you were healthy and you were in relatively good shape and you had enough food, if you don't have enough clean water and you have um to not make people viciously uncomfortable in the comment section, if you were losing water with some consistency, you're just going to die anyway.
Yep.
Right, this is the biggest problem with dysentery. And by the way, I wanted to put this down. The pale mare reminds me of dysentery.
Yep.
Um, the problem with dysentery is not that it kills you; it's that it horribly dehydrates you,
And then
and
something else kills you.
it removes all of your electrolytes. You actually die of desalination, um,
Yeah.
uh, uh, because you don't have enough salt, you don't have enough potassium, and you just die, right? You just die. Like, you can drink as much water as you want and you're just going to die because you are sweating and doing other things.
It's one of the
Very
reasons it doesn't kill you as much nowadays is because we can get so much fucking salt in your
Yeah,
body.
because my mom can hook your ass up to a saline solution and say shut up and sit there, right?
Or failing that, give you 8 bags of Lay's potato chips. Yep.
And I actually failing that, give you like a 24-pack case of Gatorade. That's what's gonna save you.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, dysentery has been solved by sports drinks.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
dude.
welcome, world.
The wonders of modern medicine. Dysentery isn't a problem because of the Florida Gators.
Football saved your life, world. I'm glad
Um,
that the beverage we made because we thought it made us better at sports stops you from dying of dysentery.
Strictly speaking, it does make you better at sports because no one wants to drink salt water.
That's true.
You sweat a lot during sports. It does make you better. Uh, okay, what else? Okay, what's the shivers? Can you describe the shivers to me?
Yeah. The shivers.
I absolutely love this video, Zach. This is great.
I'm having a blast. Uh, it is a remarkably swift death. It comes with the onset of the first chill. Old and young are the most vulnerable. This is straight from the wiki. Uh, People begin to cough up blood. This is tuberculosis.
Is that tuberculosis? I was gonna say it reminds me of pneumonia.
It could be both. It could be either.
Yeah. What I don't actually know. I don't know what tuberculosis does.
Here's the problem with this. Tuberculosis also, I believe people coughed up blood.
Is that what it does?
I believe so. Here's the problem with this. During the reign of Jaehaerys I, many suspected the plague was spread by rats. There was no. It was not clear
Ooh.
the disease was not native to Westeros, but spread from some foreign land. No, it was clear that the disease was not native to Westeros, but spread from some foreign land, as it started in the ports of Westeros.
Shit.
That is a direct bubonic plague thing.
Absolutely. As a matter of that is such a direct
That comes from fire and blood.
that is
too.
such a direct bubonic plague reference that I am erasing this bit about the Black Plague. I am erasing the Great Spring Sickness bit because
But it's interesting because the shivers sounds a lot more like. Let me see.
yeah,
Tuberculosis symptoms.
right, because the Black Plague is very distinctive.
And tuberculosis is cough, coughing up blood and mucus, chest pain, and chills.
Okay,
Or
yeah.
so this is fucking fascinating. They think it's being spread by rats, but it is tuberculosis, which was famously not spread through rats. It was spread, I believe, through the air. The bacteria. Let me look it up. Tuberculosis spread. I could be wrong, and an epidemiologist in our comments is freaking out right now.
Hey,
oh no, it's spread through the air.
throw it in the comments, epidemiologist, please. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, no.
Finally, you've been waiting for your episode, and here it is.
So tuberculosis is spread through the air. The bubonic plague was spread by fleas. But we have like a mix here, which is interesting. Or they could just be very wrong about the medicine.
I'm gonna say I think this is pretty reasonable. I'm gonna say that this reminds me of a cross between the Black Plague and tuberculosis. Just like grayscale is the cross between leprosy and something else. The shivers can be tuberculosis, like the symptoms of tuberculosis, but spread like the Black Plague.
Yes. And the Great Spring Sickness, also I want to point out, It was bad in Lannisport, worse in Old Town, but worst of all in King's Landing. Bada bing, bada boom. Those are the three major port cities.
But they're also the three biggest cities, which
That's
historically have the worst sanitation.
Yep. That's the
That
rub is that it's like medievalish setting,
yeah,
so
that's
the
where I
major
would.
ports
That's
are also the biggest cities.
the major cities is where I would expect um any communicable disease to be the biggest. Right. That's where I would expect any of them. Oh my god, I can't draw a straight line. My lines always come out gay. I didn't expect you to leave me hanging on that joke.
Sorry. No,
Wow.
I was
Damn.
chewing on the theory,
I liked
the
that
wad
one.
here.
I thought that one was
Sorry.
fun.
I completely missed it. Give me that joke
When
again.
I said I can't draw a straight line, they always come out a little gay.
That's
I don't
pretty good.
know. I don't know. It's
That's pretty
not. Stop giving me. You're giving me points I don't deserve today.
Yeah, those you deserve those points. Uh, so we have all none of these are perfect fits for the disease, besides like a pox that like you get from a brothel probably being syphilis, and like crabs in the belly probably being cancer and stuff like that, like the way they describe it.
That's what crabs in the belly is.
Yeah, especially when you consider the side of the crab in like
Oh my
astrology
god.
is called
Bite my
Cancer,
butt. Yeah, I know.
like the star thing that people do. Uh,
That is unprecedented in the series.
I'm sure someone would disagree, but yes, sure. Uh, great. So, what the hell are some of these diseases then? Because we don't know, like, uh, with the Great Spring Sickness, a strong man could wake up healthy in the morning and die in the evening, according to the wiki. So swiftly did the plague strike. I believe that is directly from the Sworn Sword. Yep, is that is like word for word.
Yeah, we've come back around because we thought the Great Spring Sickness was Black Plague coded, but we found a Black Plague. We found the Black Plague coded disease. So what the hell? We're back at. We've come full circle. What the hell is
Yeah.
the Great Spring
Well,
Sickness?
and all of these feel like they're combinations. Maybe that's how George writes them. Is he like instead of making it a one-to-one disease, he like combos it up, right?
Yeah.
In which is so that if that one, the shiver, is Black Plague and tuberculosis combined, maybe this one has some Black Plague elements also, but maybe it's completely different. We don't know because we get so precious little information.
Most likely. Siphlys. I'm actually not gonna.
SY,
S
I
I.
think
That's a tough word. It's a very
SY,
Targaryen
SY,
word.
Syphilis. If you replace those I's with Y's, that is just a Targaryen name.
Um, is
Syphilis Targaryen.
is the word syphilis related to the Greek mythology character Sisyphus?
I
Do you think?
don't think so, but that'd be interesting. Hold on. I'm gonna look up syphilis etymology.
Do it. We're learning stuff today. I learned what tuberculosis does. I learned what syphilis is like the origin of the
Oh,
word syphilis.
it's from a Latin story called Syphilis about the supposed first person who had the disease,
Oh,
and we just changed the way it's spelled. It's the character is uh, Syphilus, and we just replaced the U with an I.
cool.
That is according to Google, who could be lying to me,
Okay.
but I'm going to take them for their word.
Okay.
It's a Latin poem from the 1500s. Interesting. Syphilis sive morbus gallicus. Interesting.
Morbus Gap. Who's the first person to get? Actually, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what they did.
Yeah, the first person to
Yep.
get
Don't tell me.
syphilis would have been prehistoric, actually, because it's been around that long. Because they talk about like syphilis exists in like stuff written around the time of the Bible. So like, it's like BC
Yeah.
levels of like
It is it
disease.
is it is 4,000 years old at least.
Yeah, yes. So we probably know nothing about the first person who got syphilis.
So what the Okay, so we have two more diseases that we don't really have an allegory for. Do we know any of the symptoms of the Great Spring Sickness? Do we know anything about it?
People died very quickly. We know that.
All right, what's a disease
And
that hits really fast? You know what? I'm gonna check here.
SARS, SARS kills you fucking immediately.
Oh shit.
Was the Great Spring Sickness a coronavirus outbreak?
Smallpox usually kills within 8 to 16 days. Hmm. Malignant smallpox, which was that movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So bodies were burned to stop it from spreading. So your dead body would still have it on there, which makes it seem more bacterial than viral because usually if you die of a virus, your body is not that contagious. I think it's more bacterial things that you have to worry about in that regard, or parasitic things.
Hmm. No, no, no.
Yeah, because viruses are
It's
not
probably
living.
not anthrax.
Bacteria are alive and viruses are not. I don't know why viruses aren't alive. I just know that they're not living. Uh,
Yeah, they straddle the line. They're kind of like tiny biological robots, which I think is really interesting. They are automatons.
the, there's a fascinating conversation to be had with somebody who talks about simulated reality nonsense with viruses. That's probably their best argument. The best argument is robots get you sick.
I love talking about stuff that I don't know anything about because
Same.
like real diseases, like I just don't. This is just not my area, and this is very
Yeah.
interesting. How fast does Ebola kill?
Oh,
Uh,
pretty fucking fast. Oh, yeah, it could be a hemorrhagic fever, and that would explain why it kills you so fast. You start hemorrhaging.
Usually 6 to 16 days. The initial symptoms of Ebola typically appear 2 days after exposure. Death usually occurs within a week.
Ebola is not the only kind of hemorrhagic fever, but some of them do kill you very quickly. And uh, it is hemorrhagic fevers give flu-like symptoms, diarrhea, vomiting, internal and external bleeding. Actually, maybe the Red Death is Ebola if
Yeah,
you're
that
bleeding
actually
internally and externally.
that tracks for me really well. Um yeah, this is okay. So I'm so excited for this video to get our channel recategorized again.
There's
Um
gonna there's going to be a disclaimer from YouTube saying something about one of the diseases we offhandedly mentioned.
Cholera?
Cholera is spread through the water, famously.
Yeah. I don't know. I
We
don't
did. The thing with
the
the Great Spring Sickness is we don't fucking know, so it could have been that it like hit through the water, right?
Yeah, but if it's in the water, I don't and I really don't know, but I don't think that it would spread city to city like that. I don't
Yeah,
think.
what every single well in the Westeros world is connected by an underwater tunnel.
Whoa, bro! Oh my God, that's a hell of an argument.
Was it weaponized
Whoa!
cholera? Was it weaponized cholera from the Children of the Forest?
You're telling me it was weaponized cholera from Bloodraven culling the Targaryen family tree, making sure that egg goes to the place where no one can get him.
He intentionally puts cholera in the water in King's Landing to kill off the Targaryens, doesn't like, and then also puts it in two other major cities so it can be like, yep, no, it's just a disease. Pay
Man.
no mind.
Uh Dengue fever? Dengue fever is probably like that seems like one of the Sothorios things, right?
Yes.
All right, but what if it's rabies?
That's possible. I
Hear
mean,
me out.
rabies is pretty transmissible.
Hear me out.
The problem is that rabies doesn't usually spread human to human that well, is my understanding.
Which well?
The one with all the collar in it.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Okay. What the? All right. What the hell? All right. Let's put a pause on that. Talk to me about Arya Targaryen.
That seems to be parasitic in nature,
Yeah.
right?
I'm gonna look up you vamp. I'm gonna look up some parasitic diseases. Hi, welcome to the most uncomfortable video.
You thought the last one where we talked about
Yeah, you
magical
thought the one with all the
semen.
cum in it was a problem.
uh, so they're definitely like tapeworms are very bad parasites. There are other parasites you can get. There are brain eating amoebas that you can accidentally snort and just right into water and have your brain eaten. You can do. There are all sorts of terrible things that will live inside your body uh, that are not great. Uh, that seems to be what happens with Arya Targaryen, except this is one of the more magical things. They're worms with human faces. Like, we got fucking nothing like that. And they're big enough that you can see the human faces, which is not the size of most parasites. Most parasites are very, very, very tiny things that can live like inside a corner of your small intestines, right? Like you need a microscope to see them. Or if you did see them, they would look like a hair, sort of thing. These things are like big enough to cause serious issues and for people to make out the faces on them. And there's what, hundreds inside Area Targaryen?
Yeah. And they live under her skin like bot flies.
Yeah.
Right. They're not in her small intestine, making it difficult for her to process food. They're under her skin. Like those those god awful wasps that like eat their way out of caterpillars or whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
God damn, do we need a content warning in this episode, Zach?
We can say unfortunately this episode is also gross.
Yeah.
Uh,
Shit.
we're we're really hitting you with two gross ones in a row.
All right. Well, I have no problem with that.
Yep,
I
me
I,
either.
I found the thumbnail. It's this episode is also gross. It's very interesting. Yeah, I'm not really. Oh my god. Blood flukes, which is a type of trematode. Oh god. Yeah, like all I'm seeing are like roundworms caused chronic organ damage. Like the stuff in tsetse flies cause confusion and joint pain.
And usually, like some parasites are bad for you straight up, but because of the way they like attack your body, it's usually that a parasite is bringing a nasty fucking disease that it's immune to along with it. Like mosquitoes are parasites, and you can get bit by mosquitoes all day, and the mosquitoes aren't going to fucking kill you because they're taking a microscopic amount of blood. It's the fucking West Nile virus or fucking what's the other one that mosquitoes carry?
Malaria
Uh,
and yellow fever.
Malaria and yellow fever. There's another one too.
Yeah.
Recently that was like a really bad in America for a while. Uh, but uh,
But that's not this, right? That is like uh uh that's butterfly fever or worm bone or
Zika was the one that was like really bad
oh
recently.
wait I just scrolled past one. Where was it? That causes what was it?
Oh, Zika's a Danube fever sort of thing. Is that how you pronounce that? Danube,
I've been saying dengue.
dengue. Hold on. Uh,
I love talking about stuff that I don't know about because I'm learning stuff right now.
yeah, dengue.
Oh my god. Okay. All right, Zach, here we go. I got
Oh,
one.
It's you're right. It's dengue.
uh, uh, not to be confused with the similar character from Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Dende fever. It's what the internet had after he grew up. Okay. Um, you ready for some truly terrible words, Zach?
Yes.
Uh, Dracunculus medinaceus, the guinea worm, which is a type of roundworm, which is contracted through drinking contaminated water with fleas, water contaminated with water fleas containing the infected larvae, causes guinea worm disease, characterized by excruciating pain as the female worm emerges from the skin.
Ugh. I mean that's I think as close as we're gonna get to area Targaryen, but that's fucking gross.
Oh, I hate that.
Yikes, that is terrible.
Okay, I'm going deeper, Zach. I'm trying to find things like that. Oh no. Oh god. Oh, it's not good. Symptoms
By the
include painful blisters and incapacitating pain.
I did find the Constantinople fire thing I was thinking of.
Oh, sick.
It's at the temple way back I think in the pagan days. There was apparently a plague when the this might have been in Greece actually, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but there was a temple with a fire in it that went out. And it might have been in Athens and it might have been Constantinople. And when the fire went out there, a massive plague hit the city. I think that's ancient Greek, and I was conflating it with the Justinian plagues in Constantinople later. But like stuff from ancient Greece and stuff from the Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire 100% informed A Song of Ice and Fire. So maybe all of those things being sort of similar in my brain is how it works for George R. R. Martin, also, where like a magical fire being a portent of like the peak of a horrible plague just sort of like scratched his brain the right way. George loves fucking magical fires. He adores that shit. We haven't gone a book without a magical fire, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh god. I'm sorry. I'm reading about these terrible worms. Vamp for a minute.
Yeah. Uh and because there's so like to bring it back around, because there's so much magic in the series, like passively in the background, the I'm starting to see a lot more potential like magical sources for these diseases. And I don't think it all needs to be 100% magic, but I want to come back to one of the things we said in the beginning. Let's talk about the fucking Shrouded Lord, Tom. Because if we're going to assert there's some magic to peel into here, we.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Okay, you got it?
Fucking yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Uh-huh. Yep, I got it. Yep, I found it. I
What'd
found
you
the thing.
find?
I found the real world allegory. Okay. Oh my
Okay.
god. Echinococosis,
Hmm.
called hydatid disease, caused by the echinococosis parasites. This parasitic infection leads to the formation of large cysts in the liver, lungs, skin, and other organs. They can grow over years, and when ruptured, they release numerous smaller larvae, causing anaphylactic shock and seeding new cysts.
Well, yeah, that is correct, and I'm also going to stop to throw up.
Yeah,
Uh,
Zach, is that the show? Jesus
I
fuck.
want to come back
We
around to
haven't done
Shrouded
the
Lord.
greats. I'm sorry, we haven't done it.
No, no, I want to come back around because I don't think we can answer the Great Spring Sickness. Maybe our comments can help us when we do a sequel to this one. Uh,
In the comments below,
ugh. In the comments below,
tell us
please
your
throw up.
favorite parasitic disease.
It's gonna be great when somebody guesses all the songs on my album, says also I'm subscribed, and then says tapeworms.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
um,
it's gonna go. I found all the songs. I'm subscribed. Tapeworms unsubscribed.
uh, um,
Oh, you ready?
I
You ready to
do
watch our viewership like bottom out in the middle of this video?
that as it should. Tom, with almost 50 minutes on the clock, I want to spend the last couple minutes on this, hopefully less than an hour video, coming back to the Shrouded Lord, who we didn't talk about, but we teased in the beginning.
Perfect.
What the fuck is going on with that guy?
The Shrouded Lord appears
Seems to exist.
appears to be a grayscale god? Question mark. Right?
His Grey Grace. Yeah, they have nicknames for him beyond the Shrouded Lord. Tyrion thinks I do not want to meet the Shrouded Lord, and then in a deleted chapter he does. Like that we have a whole video about that chapter. It's one of your favorites.
But about the Shrouded Lord chapter.
Yeah,
Oh, the one where Tyrion
the
falls in the
boat.
water.
Yeah, and the boat does some magical shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
with that weird ass boat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the draft version, I believe Tyrion actually meets the Shrouded Lord.
yeah.
And then Tyrion, I think, mentions that he killed Tywin or something to
Mhm.
that effect, or that
And
Tywin is dead at least,
and that makes
and
him
it
laugh.
causes him to, yeah, which is what people use to. He is actually Tyrion Lannister is the argument made off of that, and he's laughing that Tywin is dead because he hated the bastard. Uh, but if there is a like person who is the like vessel of the disease and who is like able to control the others. That is beyond any disease we have ever seen. That is like straight up magic shit. And it makes me wonder if like the disease we have seen the closest up, grayscale, has a strongly magical component to it. What's to say they all don't?
Hmm. These are interesting points. Right.
What,
That's
what if
always
there's
something we have to keep in mind that anything that we talk about could be magically influenced.
yeah? What if the Great Spring Sickness is the aspect of some god or is some magical creation or something of that sort?
Oh man, I love the idea of a disease being an aspect of a deity. That's terrible. Okay. All right. So what relevance could that play later? Yo, pitch. Pitch.
Yes,
Um the hooded man in Winterfell is the Shrouded Lord.
he's a shrouded lord for a different disease. He's the one who gives you the chills.
No, he's the Shrouded Lord for Grayscale. And Grayscale's about to be
Ooh.
spreading around Winterfell in there. I don't know
Oh,
how or why, but I would like that.
he is not a it's not a we passed upon the stair antagonish thing that happens with um fuck uh with
Antigone.
Reek yeah, well no, it's because sorry, I have too many things in my brain right now.
Yeah. No,
uh
I'm sorry that so many of them are parasitic worms.
Several of them are parasitic worms that I got from a recently dropped out presidential candidate. But
Several of them are parasitic worms, which I got from reading Dune 4.
yes, the
Fuck you.
the most common interpretation is that Theon is like talking to himself there,
Yeah.
uh, and it's a like it's similar to the poem Antagonish, which is probably my favorite poem of all time. Where it is yesterday upon the stair I saw someone who wasn't there. Uh,
Oh,
it
come
could
on.
be
Do
that
the
he's
rest of it, motherfucker. That's the best.
yesterday
It's great.
Yesterday upon the stair, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. Oh, how I wish he'd go away. There's
Oh, it's
more to
so
that.
good.
I love that
It's so
bit.
good.
It is. Uh, that's the bit I have memorized. The um, possibility is he ran into somebody actually magical there. Yeah, he met the Shrouded Lord. He's like, "What's up, fucker? I'm spreading
Right.
disease. Good to see you."
Right. Like what he met was an aspect of a deity, a la Edgar Allan Poe, right? Like
Yep, the
he
Mask of the
he's
Red Death sort of thing.
he
Where the
saw the angel of death standing in the doorway. Right. What
yeah,
if wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hang on. I can actually fucking connect this, can't I?
yeah,
John, hang on. Oh my god, wait a minute. Zach, that's a good theory. Wait a minute.
are there gods of pestilence? And I also like
No,
if we're going
no.
off a bit.
Zach,
Yeah.
no. I can get Grayscale to Winterfell.
Oh
Really?
yeah, absolutely you can.
Because um Mance just left Winterfell. We know that we don't know what Mance's feelings on Grayscale are, but we
But
know
the
what
wildlings are fucking
Mance's
freaked out.
we know what Mance's sister-in-law's feelings on Grayscale are, and we know that they hang out a lot.
Yeah.
What like this is gonna sound like weird, but what if he like took a patch of Shireen's skin or something, right? What if he?
Or one of his spearwives might have it,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yes, exactly. One of the spearwives might do. Yeah, yeah. And what if what he sees is like a metaphorical aspect of death, and like Stannis and his crew are going to kick in the door of Winterfell and find everyone fucking dead and dying.
ooh, that'd be fascinating. Yeah,
And
that's not all that much of a stretch, honestly.
that would contribute to the really like upset and unhappy and unstable atmosphere within Winterfell right now. If everyone is in the early symptoms of a nasty disease, right? A disease that kills you in 2 months and you've had it for a week and a half, and you started to feel malaise and fatigue
Well, and
and
they're also all locked in the same spot and distrustful of each other. So
yeah.
throwing disease on top of that would cause it to boil
Oh
over.
my
That's like a
god.
perfect card that George can call. That like
Wait.
people start getting a serious disease and they already don't trust each other, and they're
Yo.
all locked in the same general area.
And there's already Poe references in this story. What if
Yep.
that's what that is? What if Theon has grayscale and that's what he's seeing?
Or maybe the torture that he put through like unlocked his like tortured trauma powers, and he can now see maybe there are like pestilence beings like I think I was going to throw the Bible there. There's like the the pale mare is named after the pale horse of the pestilence horseman
Oh fuck
in
yeah.
the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Like that is a direct godly reference to something beyond mortal
Oh
comprehension.
my god.
Like maybe these are all aspects of like a Nurgle-esque disease god for those who
Yeah.
like or 40k people, Warhammer people, like a singular god of illness, and the Shrouded Lord is just one of his disciples, and the Pale Mare is his horse.
Yeah, what if what he's seeing is an aspect of pestilence? Hang on,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go look up the quotes from the shrouded the from the hooded man.
yeah, me too, actually. Because I
Here, I got
the
it. I got it. You riff.
like pestilence. I'm gonna look up pestilence
Okay.
from Revelations pestilence. I guarantee there's some stuff that in it's Revelation, not Revelations. Yeah. I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. Uh, yeah, there's a pale green horse. Its rider was named Death. These are different translations. Uh, yeah, it's always pale, pale, ashen, ashy pale, pale, pale green. Uh, the Pale Mare is 100% like a throw to the Bible. We didn't even mention that. That's like got to be where the name comes from. The pale horse of pestilence is how some people describe it.
All right, I'm gonna read a passage for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Outside, the snow was coming down so heavily that Theon could not see more than 3 feet in front of him. He found himself alone in a white wilderness, walls of snow looming up on either side of him, chest high. When he raised his head, the snowflakes brushed his cheeks like cold, soft kisses. He could hear the sound of music from the hall behind, a soft song now and sad. For a moment, he felt almost at peace. Farther on, he came upon a man striding in the opposite direction, a hooded cloak flapping behind him. When they found themselves face to face, their eyes met briefly. The man put a hand on his dagger. Theon Turncloak, Theon Kinslayer. I'm not. I never. I was Ironborn. False is all you were. How is it you still breathe? The gods are not done with me, Theon answered, wondering if this could be the killer. The Nightwalker had stuffed Yellow Dick's cock into his mouth and pushed Roger Risewell's groom off the battlements. Oddly, he was not afraid. He pulled off a glove from his left hand. Lord Ramsay is not done with me. The hooded man looked and laughed. I'll leave you to him, then. Theon trudged through the storm. Huh. You know, for something that the fandom really focuses on, there's really not much here. It could just be
Yeah,
like there's enough deniability here that it could just be a guard. This doesn't need to be
yep.
anybody.
It's just it comes at the perfect point of that chapter where it's clearly supposed to be relevant, and we have no information to go off of. It could just be a guard, and when you strip it from context, it could be, but in the like context of it, it's clearly meant to be important and mysterious.
Yeah.
But that's the wonderful thing. If it is something magical, if it is whether it's a hallucination or whether it's him experiencing something magic, like you could, if there's an aspect of a god wandering around, have a 2 sentence conversation with him and not know that you were talking to some supremely magical being. After all, like underestimating the potency of magic is a common fucking theme in the scenes where we do have magic.
Hey Zach,
Uh,
can you put together a theory duel in the next like 20 minutes?
uh, are we gonna take a 20-minute break and then come back and do a who is the hooded man
Hell yeah.
theory duel?
That's what we're gonna do.
Give me 30. And
Let's
yes.
go. Let's go. All right, everybody, that's our show.
All right. See you
I
for the
hope it
next
was
one.
as upsetting for you as it was for me.
It's gonna be really fun. We have an unrelated episode in between.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Zach, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope that you like that itch on the back of your head. I want you to know that it's just an itch. It's not a parasite. Okay.
That's the fun. Whenever I get headaches that are clearly stress headaches, because I have like one spot that hurts the most, I'm like, that's where my brain tumor is.
I do that all the time too. Unfortunately, I do have brain tumor. All right, Zach, say goodbye.
Remember to enter the contest from the beginning of the video. If you win, I'll send you Tom's brain tumor.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.